for joining us. So my name is Lakena. I'm from A Christ Lifestyle. Thanks for joining us, Level Up with Kina. My name is Zakah from A Christ Lifestyle. We are relationship coaches between myself and my husband, Tazadak. We help couples who are in their relationships who are filled with bad habits recognize, rid, and replace those bad relationship habits that are keeping them from reaching their desired relationship goals, right? So that's about us. If you are interested in any kind of relationship coaching services, we are here for you. This is something that we do weekly, sometimes bi-weekly, just to, give to those who are following us, who want this information, who need the gems, and who want that coaching advice, right? If you ever have any questions, drop them in our DM. When we go live, we answer questions on our lives as well. So you can definitely do that. All right. As you're coming in, let us know what state you're from. That's always fun. Or what country, right? Yeah. So thank you for joining us. Also, if you haven't done so yet, we are so excited because this is about to be a game changer. Sign up for the Power Couple Blueprint mini course. Okay, click the link in our bio, and that course is all about giving you the results that you want to be a power couple in your relationship, right? So if there's people on the outside of your relationship that are hindering you from being a power couple, we're talking about that. If communication is stopping you from being a power couple, we are talking all about that, right? And so much more. So go ahead, click the link in our bio, sign up for the waiting list, and as soon as that course drops, you'll be one of the first ones to know, right? Thank you for joining us, Lil Mama Solid. Let us know what state you're from. KBNG Alf of Yasharala, thank you for joining us, right? So today's topic is, how do you trust your spouse with money? So we have a very special guest. She is what seems to be a money guru, right? And she's in the queue. She's waiting for us now. So without further ado, let us welcome Level Up with Kina. All right, sis, here we go. Let's see it. There it is.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you well. Can you hear me well?
That's awesome. Yes.
Awesome and amazing. How are you tonight?
Amazing. Doing amazing. How are you, sis?
I'm doing great and amazing as well. I just can't wait to drop some gems for everyone, and hopefully this will open up love for people too. And then, or help the love that they're having, right?
Yep, that's what we're about.
That's awesome. So thanks for having me on the platform. I'm truly honored. Thank you so much. It's just a blessing to be able to speak about the Lord and about relationships. So it's just like, I love it because that's something that is not really talked about the most, especially finances in a relationship. So this is really, this is huge.
Well, let's jump right in. So tell us about, you're married. Tell us about how long you've been married, how you met your husband, and things like that. How did that story happen?
Ooh, a love story. Okay, so, well, my name is Lakena Mattison, and one thing, I'll tell you what I do really quick. I'm a serial entrepreneur, investor, mom, wife, you name it, right? Child of the Lord, number one. How me and my husband met was at work. I actually retired myself from manufacturing, and we were really good friends for years. So it was never a let's see, because we worked so much together, let's hook up. It was just a really relationship, friendship. And he would come to me for like advice, and I would give him scriptures. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that something? So I would feed him scriptures because I was really focused on getting out of there. When I started, I knew I wasn't going to stay there long anyway because I've already had businesses, but they just wasn't they didn't blossom right away, as we all know as entrepreneurs, right? So I was doing it as I was working corporate. Well, he became single, and of course I was single. I still did not want to date. I was really like I would read the Bible or listen to it while I'm actually working on the line or driving my high-low. I would be listening to scriptures. I had a whole bunch of books. I kept looking for departments that I can move to separate myself from people. And it wasn't that I didn't like the people there. It was just that the conversation wasn't of my need at the time. Right. So if we weren't talking about the Lord or about business, cut it short. So he was going through some challenges, and he was looking into scriptures as well, and he was actually amazed at how I knew the 12 tribes. Like no one can, he just when I started naming the tribes, he couldn't believe it. So that made him more engaged with, to engage with me more. He just kept coming. I'm like, man, he keep interrupting my scriptures. So I used to hide from him. It's funny. I used to hide from him. Like, I can't get what I'm, because I really wanted to figure out, like, how can I really get into my purpose and get out of here? Because I felt like I was really in bondage working for someone else. And I have this gift to help people of all, to how to tap into business, how to work for yourself. Like, I have all this background, all these licenses, all these skills, and here I am spending most of my time building a car that I don't even buy. I never bought a car from them. I probably rented one, but not interested in buying them. That's just honest. But that is how we met. And he just asked one day, like, what would you say if I said I wanted to date you? And then kind of threw me back like, well, I don't know. I guess I'm open to it. And from there, it was history. We ended up getting married a year later. We had a beautiful daughter, and we mended our family, and it's been wonderful. I mean, you have your rough patches, but for the most part, I like that our relationship is centered on the scriptures, on the truth, because I really do believe it's really hard to be in a relationship with someone if you don't believe in the same thing together. That's really hard.
So basically, you made it your business while you were working and while you wanted to get out of this workplace to minister to someone else. And that in turn brought that interest back to you.
I would do that with everyone. It wasn't just him. It was just that a lot of people, I think you get caught up in that space because you spend a lot of time there. So they call overtime. We working like 10 hours. We were really like living in that plant. And it's not really a horrible place. It's just that if you know that you have a skill and it's other things that you want to do, then you have to figure out and find a way to get that out. And I don't know, the Lord kept giving me challenges to push me. So like every department, it was an issue. Like even when I continued to stay there after we got married, and I had my child and I wanted to nurse, and it was a big issue about that. So I nursed both of my children, and they like, you can, I'm taking too much time to go nurse. And I'm like, okay, I'll just go on my break. I'll just go on my break. And then that was a big issue. And I'm like, you know what? This is crazy, right? So I said, hurry up and find a way. And I prayed for it, and he actually did it. So I have several businesses. Thank the Lord that, that was able to happen. And it was a rough ride, but thank you. I don't have to deal in that space anymore. And I'm not saying it's for everybody, but everybody have their own path. And I just knew I was being pushed into my purpose, and I followed it, even though I was being challenged with it a lot. And so anybody that came to me with challenges, I'm like, oh, you need a word, and I would give it to them. And some people would accept it, and some people wouldn't. And it was fine with me, but I felt like that was what he wanted me to say to you. Do what you need with it. And for the most part, a lot of people accepted it, and they kept they kept moving forward. It actually helped a lot of people get through their day, because it's a stressful environment. They think you are a robot, when we all know robots breaks down too. So if a robot breaks down, then you know a human will actually need a break. Also, you know, some food. Like if the line go down, let people chill if it ain't nothing to do, or send them home. Don't just make them like, oh, I want to make sure that you're just doing too much. So I just knew that wasn't for me. On top of that, I had a new child, and I have businesses that I was making money from it, but it was really hard for me to scale it if I'm always clocking in. And I was so exhausted from doing so. And you know how it is when you're nursing, you got to eat a certain diet, because let me tell you, I was all but 2 pounds. I'm telling you. Okay, the wind was blowing one day so hard, and I had to hold on to the trees to get into the building, like, hold on, because I was up in the air. So I said, no, I can't do this. It's stressing me out. I had a talk with him, and he said, you know what? If that's what you want to do, I'll support it. So I'm like, cool. So that really worked. That really worked, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for meeting him. It was really hard though, but it worked out. It worked out really well.
That's
with the
amazing
grace.
support.
Yeah,
That's amazing support. I mean, leaving, you know, that a lot of people like to call it that net, right? Like leaving that
the
net, or
safety
like
net, right?
You know, and going into entrepreneurship is a whole thing. But then you think back to those times where, like, you know, you could barely breastfeed, and they're talking to you about how long you can breastfeed, and you're taking too long. You know, like I remember getting talked to like that and having those kinds of conversations, like, well, my baby's not here. I need to.
Yeah,
I
how
need
you
to
gonna deprive me? Yeah, don't deprive me of feeding my children. And you know, it really wasn't the management. It was my peers, because they felt like they were being overworked. So any type of break they saw someone else do, oh, it's a problem. Why she get to keep going on? You know, wait a minute, she just had a break. So I said, you know what, fine. We had a whole meeting about it. And I'm like, really, you know, I can escalate this and make this a whole big thing. But I didn't. I said, you know what? The little 11 minutes y'all give me, guess what I'll do? I'll go eat and nurse at the same time. So I would take, and it got to the point where I couldn't even, because it was so far. They have a medical center in there. It was so far from my doc where I was at. I had to go into the restroom to do it. And one of the housekeepers saw me one day, because I was straight cleaning. I would clean before, wash my hands really good, and then do it. And she was like, no, I'll clean for you. So she's like, just tell me the times you want, and she would make sure I have everything that I need. So I know it's kind of strange, but it was like a locker room, actually. So it was restrooms with the locker room. So the locker room part, I would actually have my snacks or whatever I needed to eat, and eat there too while I'm nursing. So I made it happen, because my baby wasn't gonna starve, honey. She wasn't gonna starve, but I had to do what I had to do. Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's illegal now for them not.
It was illegal then. I could have took the whole company. Okay, if I'd have escalated, but the Lord just told me, you know what? Just continue on this path, because I'm pushing you for a reason. And shortly after that, we were laid off anyway, because they couldn't figure out what vehicle they wanted to. So it wasn't. That was another push, because we were constantly being shut down and laid off, because they're like, okay, we want to make this car. Okay, no, we don't want to make that car. We want to make this car now. So it just kept flip-flopping. So we'll have time off, which was a gift to me, because that time, and see, in business, you have to have the right mindset. So I didn't look at it as, oh man, I'm going to be off and I don't know what I'm going to do. I already had built some income, because I had my businesses going. But now I could focus more. And so I actually focused more. And then at the same time, I was able to create a plan to exit. And I also knew at the same time with that if I was thinking lack, that I wasn't going to have enough, or I'd have still been stuck. So it showed me that that's not promising either. I can't depend on that income. I have to depend on myself, which is what entrepreneurs solely do.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely resonate with a lot of that. Now, how do you handle being a boss and a wife?
Ugh.
Right? Because that's part of the that could be the imbalancing thing or the fully balanced thing. You
Yeah.
know, you're the wife and he's, you know, the head, he's the leader, but you're over here on the entrepreneur side being a whole boss. So
Yeah.
how are you, you know, how are you balancing those things?
Oh, I have my good days and I have my bad days where, you know, sometimes, you know, the day doesn't always go as planned, but for the most part, it's scheduling and communication for sure. Um, we have a pattern. So I drop off the kids in the morning, and when he get off, he picks them up, and he'll get things going. And when I leave the office, then I'll go and continue on. So we have to put the kids on the schedule. We put everything just has to go on the schedule, and hopefully, you know, by the grace, everything goes smoothly day in and day out. But if not, then you just wing it as much as you
Right.
can. As far as business with it, I try to keep it separate. I don't really, because we're not completely like, the business is mine. We have some businesses together, but for the most part, those aren't really a need to be all the time business because it's
Yeah.
investments.
Mm-hmm.
But since I have a service-based business as well, we just keep it separate. I just leave it alone because it's just like his work, you know, he go to work, he don't want to talk about what happened at work, and I just leave it alone.
Yeah.
If he asks, like he'll ask about my day and I'll tell him, but I don't really go deep in depth because nobody want to talk about that all the time. You don't want to talk about work all the time. You talk about what needs to be talked about and you leave it alone from there. Yeah. But there's really the only balance that you can have is just to have some type of schedule written down for everyone to flow, and they already have to know what is needed. When you have children, you have to reiterate those things to them so that they can get on a pattern of it, and eventually you don't have to tell them. They're used to it, so they know. Just like if they go to school, they know that this bell ring, you better be on your way to your class, or you know. So that is the best part about it when you have the older ones. Now, if you have the little babies, it's really rough because I was doing this with I was doing it with an infant, and I mean, I went right back after. Let me tell you, because I was 5, so I did a lash class a day before I birthed her, and then I birthed her in the car.
Wait, stop. You said you took a lash class right before you birthed her?
I trained some students on how to do lashes the day before I gave birth. I wasn't due until May 2nd, but she came on April 24th, and everyone was looking at me like, whoa, listen, you sure you don't want to sit down? And I'm like, no, I'm good. I mean, I worked to the end, literally. And
did you like carry small, or was she like a regular size?
6 pounds, 8 ounces.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. She was 6 pounds, 8 ounces, very healthy. I delivered her and the placenta inside of my mom's car. And she was the closest to me. My husband was far. So I called him. And the thing is, I stayed at home because I really wanted her to get all of her blood from the placenta. You know, they always like, it's like vampires or something. They love the placenta, and you know why. It's a little deep in there, but some people like, oh, that's nothing, but you can really heal yourself with that blood. So I wanted her to get that, and I did not want them to cut. I wanted him to cut. So because he wasn't there, but I was on the phone with him the whole time having contractions, and again giving him scriptures because he was having a bad day. And I was calming him, and whenever I got quiet, he's like, you having a contraction again? I'm like, yeah, but I had me some fruit. I was laying in my little king size bed, honey. I was relaxed because them hospital beds hurt. They make the contractions hurt. It's so much easier when you're relaxed, you're comfortable. As long as you know how to breathe and you don't tense up, you're good. So it was pretty. She came really fast. I thought that I was gonna be in labor for hours, but that was my second birth, and she came really fast. I want to say she came in maybe 2.5 hours.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I'm not pushing, and I feel the body
It's
starting
coming.
to, yeah. So I'm like, so I called him, and my mom is like, well, I'm closer, I'm on my way. And she had to go get my oldest daughter from school, so she whipping her car. Oh
Mm-hmm.
man, but she got to me faster, and by the time we was 1 mile away from the hospital, I'm like, I can't, she's coming out, I'm already, the head is out. And I'm like, I didn't
Wow.
want to leave her stuck, so I just,
Right.
pulled her in the placenta, and I just wrapped her in my sundress, and she pulled in front of an ambulance. She cut an ambulance off and jumped out with the doors open. My daughter just had a baby. I think, and then my oldest daughter saw the whole thing, so it's hilarious because I'm like, I wonder if that scared her from having children. And she's like, well, it looked like the baby came out your butt. The funniest story. But yeah, so she was completely healthy, which is, I'm grateful for. And of course,
Great for the time.
both of my children were nursed. Yeah, so I worked to the last minute. And then I waited, I want to say about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, whatever that Mother's Day weekend is. I know a lot of my clients wanted lashes for that day. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll see y'all there soon. But when you have a natural birth, it's not really hard to heal,
Recover.
like to bounce back. You can't really do all that lifting, but I mean, you just had a baby. That's it. So I had my little her bassinet here in my spot, and I would nurse her, lay her down, and I had my oldest daughter who was obsessed with her, and she would help me with her, and I was doing lashes. I was working.
That's amazing. I could hear pregnancy stories all day.
Right? They ain't here for that. They want to know about the money thing, right?
Right. So, but we're gonna have a part 2 just to talk about the pregnancy and the birth stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
I am here for it. Yes.
Okay. So now tell us, because now you told us you have a spa, and I know you work with credit. I also know you work with business, entrepreneur. So tell us everything that you do.
Okay. So
what exactly does Lakena do?
Yes. So what I do is I help build businesses so that they can get funding. And then with that funding, I also help you keep the money that you make more of by giving you complete tax strategies and helping you figure out how to flip it into wealth, so more streams of income. So what basically, I have a personal and business credit company where we help you correct your personal finances and your credit. And then we also help you build business credit if you do have a business. If you do not have a business, of course, I encourage people, because there are only two tax systems, is what I want to say. You're either a corporation or you're a small business. 75% of your taxes, or the 75% of the tax code goes for a corporation, and 25% is for small businesses. So consumers do not fit in that category. So what they do not tell you is that you must have a business if you ever want to obtain any type of wealth, period. You're always going to have to be robbing Peter to pay Paul. You're really going to be like struggling. It's either you broke or you're rich. And the only way to get it, and it's crazy, but the other president was trying to tell folks, listen, I'm shooting all this money to y'all. You better figure out how to flip it into a business. Okay? Because that is how he's winning in the tax code. He's not really doing anything illegal. It's just basically he's using the tax code, which is huge. It's like as thick as an encyclopedia. So if you do not know the tax code, which we don't, we're so busy working. So who can study that, right? It's so many rules. Who can study that? So if you don't have a real good tax strategist, you won't know how to actually structure your business properly so that you can save the most in taxes and what else to do. So I also have a gift to helping people figure out what their gift is.
Okay.
So I always
knowing where to start.
Yeah. So a lot of people come to me and they're like, I want to do something. And, basically for anybody that wants to start a business and don't know what to do, you have to take inventory of yourself. What do people call you the most for? What do you find pleasure in helping people with, right?
Right.
What are you already good at naturally that you know that others may be a little, you know, they ain't too well at it. You can monetize that. That is business, right? So,
Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
oh no. So this is how I help people, you know, create a business that way. Not only that, I help you structure it on paper. So of course, none of us have a ton of money when we start a business, because that's the reason most of the time we're starting a business, right? So what I do is I help you correct your personal credit and help you build business credit simultaneously so that you can get funding for the business.
Okay.
And then once you get the funding,
break that down a little bit more?
yes. So
that connection, like, why do you need to get your personal credit in order to get
business credit?
Like, how are you tied? Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have to use your personal credit for business credit, but you will have to build it or correct it in a certain manner. A lot of people think that our credit is broken, and it's really nothing wrong with it, that it just needs to be organized properly. So I like to use the analogy of a resume. So you know how we have jobs that we may have had that we don't add to our resume when we're trying to get another job? So for instance, for myself, when I turned 16, I worked at Wendy's for 2 days, and it was just, fast food is just not for me, okay? I had a burnt mark on my forehead because they put me on fries and nuggets, and it was lunchtime, and it was right by a hospital, and you know, it was banging. The line was wrapped outside the parking lot, okay? Trying to get in. They like, hurry up, we need some more fries. I'm like, I couldn't dump it fast enough. So the actual, the I don't even know what they call it, but where they fry the, they have lights over it to heat too.
Okay.
And I was taller than it. So it's a metal piece that every time I went to dip and scoop for some, for some nuggets and some fries, I would hit my head, so it was a burn mark. So day 2 I was out. I took that Wendy's shirt off. I said, y'all can have this, okay? I walked home. My mom looking at me like, what? I thought you weren't ready to be picked up until I was like, I can't do it. I found a job at the mall. That was the second day, sis. Okay, the second day. I said that I know that's not what I want to do when I grow up. I can tell you that now. So that job never made it to my resume.
Correct.
So, okay. So this is exactly how it is with credit. We wasn't taught credit. We wasn't taught the importance and what we can use or build, how to build it properly, right? By the time we turned 18, we already knew that don't give it to everybody, keep it safe. But once you went to school, they were throwing loans at you that you can't give away. You can't bankrupt them. You can't do anything. So, so a lot of times, because we didn't know, we're just signing up for stuff. But there's a strategic way based on whatever it is that you're trying to obtain to build your credit up. And that is basically your resume on how you pay your bills, how you live, you know, where you live, how often, you know, you pay your bills. Like, that's basically how the bank look at you and judge if they're going to lend any amount of money to you and trust that you'll pay them back. Now, because we don't need personal credit to really gain the start of business credit, eventually you will. And they will check it and see, let me see, you are the owner of this business. So you are responsible for paying the bills for this business. So let me see how well you pay your personal bills. So that's why it's important for your personal credit to be structured properly, so that when you do go in there with the business can talk on its own, and they won't try to come for your personal for collateral or anything else. And once you build your business credit strong enough, eventually they won't even look at your personal, because they already see the relationships that you have. They're like, oh yeah, I know Wells Fargo. Oh yeah, I know Bank of America. You know, if they put this there, I know how they work. We don't even need all of that. So just sign right here how much you want. You know, and most of the time you don't even, if you do it the way we teach, you won't even need to talk to anyone. You can actually just do a couple clicks on the internet, and then the money will be in your account in 24 to 48 hours, depending on what day of the week you are applying.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, is that, can you tell us about the Level Up
The
coaching?
Level Up
Level
Academy?
Up program, yes.
Yes. So Level Up Academy, we have, okay, we're living in an age where a lot of people like to do things themselves. And I think that's really cool because you always want to know how to do it over and over again. Because once you learn it one time, you can repeat it. It's the same cycle, right? For any business. So when I started my businesses, I started with my spa first. Because I'm also a licensed esthetician and nail tech. No, I don't do nails anymore. And I'm trying to move myself out of aesthetics, right? I just want the business to run on its own. I want to remove myself and just maybe coach and consult. But so Level Up Academy started with that because I have most of my clients, they have businesses.
Yeah.
Or they want, when they come to me, they are interested in starting a business and they don't know what to do. They don't know the paperwork or anything behind it, what's needed, the proper structure, how to tap into business credit, what ways they should structure their business for tax purposes so they don't owe a lot. How does the tax system work when it comes to business? Because people think that, oh, I'm just write off everything and I'm gonna be cool. And that's not the right way. There are so many different levels of taxes. Like you have your sales tax, you have your property tax. There's so many different taxes depending on what type of business you have. And also a lot of people, they don't look at it as businesses, but even an investment is considered a business if you structure it a certain way. So you may not have to do anything physically with it, but it's still considered a business and you have taxes on that. Like say for instance, real property, like land or real estate, stuff like that. That's real property. You have taxes on that. So you want to know how often you have to pay it because some people have to pay it quarterly. Some people have to pay it yearly. So you got to know exactly, or you're going to make all this money or not. And they're still going to tax you regardless, because once the law is for taxes, anytime you are making and earning any money on this earth, you have to pay, or not earth, United States land, right? United States soil, you have to pay a tax on it regardless. And as soon as you say you have a business, you owe taxes. The special way is that you can structure it a certain way where as you start to grow it, you pay minimum amount. You pay the very least. Okay, and now those are the strategies that I teach inside of the class, as well as my students or my clients that come to me for the direct service that I do for them. So Level Up Academy, Level Up Academy will be teaching you business. So you're going to learn everything about the business behind the scenes, what forms you need. Now, you may not want to learn everything, but you need to know. You need to be informed, because even though you don't work that department, you want to know what goes on in case that person doesn't show up or anything like that. You'll know what to do. You'll know what should be there. So this is what I teach. And then also, like I said, I teach you strategies to build your personal credit, how to remove negative items, how to add positive items, how to strategically make money as you're doing that so that you can earn money doing that as well, and helping others build their credit as you're doing the same. Get your business credit started so that you can be approved for business credit, business loans, and you'll be in the same process to get government contracting if that's the route that you want to go as well, because you'll have all your information structured the way that you need to, because of course they have a order that they need, and if you're not in that order and you can't handle the type of business that they're going to send you, then you're going to lose out on it. And then again, like the tax strategies, if you don't want to learn those, it's good to know, because that's a part of tax planning. So you can't ignore it. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm gonna just give you my books and you help me. No, you need to talk to me and let me know what is your plan for the business, so that I can help you save this money throughout the year. Because say for instance, in 2020, you had your business and you were making all this money and doing all these things, and then you have to file your taxes for 2020 and 2021. Okay, now it's 2021. I can't help you make tax saving strategy moves because the tax year is already over, and we're doing taxes for the only year of 2020. So now we can just go for it from 2021, but for 2020, it's too late.
It's a lost cause.
So the number one important thing that people should keep in mind when it comes to business is keeping your paperwork and your receipts, keeping a paper trail. Because if you do not keep the receipts, even if you have the bank statements, they can still discredit certain lines and make you pay for that.
Now, let me ask you a question. What would you say for people who have a business, but it is not licensed?
Well, that's a hobby. You can always go and register it, but it's only going to start from the day that you open a bank account, not from the day that you registered the business. So you always want to make sure that you register the business. And then it's also not safe, because if your brand start popping and somebody else with the money and the mindset that know what to do, they can steal your brand. They can go register it, because it's not hard. It's not private. As long as they know what website to go on, they can go type in whatever name that you're using into the system and be like, let me buy that. And then it's mine. And then now you're making money for them. They can take you to court and they can sue you for 3 times what they feel like the brand is worth. So it's always important to make sure you secure the name, secure the domain. Definitely. I know a lot of people can't trademark right away.
That's crazy.
It depends. Now, if you know how to trademark yourself, then it's not pricey, which I also help inside the program. But if you go to an attorney, of course, the difference is if you do it by yourself, then you'll have to fight in case someone come against you about, oh, this is the same brand that I have, or the same name, is some confusion. But you will also have the assistance from the trademark office to help you go through that process.
Okay. So or they can come to you and you do that as well.
No, I don't trademark, but I can show you how to do it yourself.
All right.
Yep, I can show you how you do it. And that's what Level Up Academy does. What we're doing is we're going to show you how to do these things yourself and what's needed so that you don't have to go elsewhere. Now, there are some people that don't like to do it themselves and they want me to do it. And I also, like I said, I do that for my clients as well. Like, I want to start a business. I just need you to help me get the paperwork together. And we go over what their plans are for the business. We get a business plan in place. And then we start registering, getting the tax ID, getting the bank accounts, and it involves them too. I don't go and like start to open the accounts for them, but I guide them through. And so Level Up Academy comes with coaching. So you'll get also a free month of coaching with me, and then it's a subscription. So you can always tap out. It's not something that you got to sign up for forever or anything. But if you want to have direct access to me, like if you get stuck, because most of us always come to something that's foreign to us and we're like, oh, I got questions. What if I have this going on? Or what if I need that? So then if you have those questions, we will meet, to discuss and get you unstuck. Otherwise, I have a whole program or community on Facebook where if you were in class and you didn't catch it and you're not into the group coaching where you have the access to ask me, then definitely ask your partner, ask your peers in there, type it in there, and they'll give you the answer that you need.
And can you let us know where we can find that? What's your link? Where's your at? Yes. Where is this program? Because I can think of the many times that like you said, it's great that we want to do everything ourselves, but what happens when you get to that point where you get stuck, right? And then sometimes that stuck point takes you a long time to undo.
Absolutely.
So like where can we find that?
Yes, so if you go on to my Linktree on Instagram, you can definitely just click the link. There are 2 different sections, the top 2 parts where you will click. One of them is for VIP, and then the other one is for general admission, and it's a 5-day Get More Funding challenge that I'm doing right now. So it doesn't go too much in depth because I know that the whole academy is probably too much for everybody to take on. all at one time. So we're going to start off with the challenge. The challenge is just for general admission is just $297. But if you want VIP, you'll get an hour with me to talk directly to me, and that's $497. And then it come both offers come with 1 month of free coaching. The coaching is 27 or 47. 47 give you more time, so that's just a month, and you can always unsubscribe whenever you want to. But a lot of people like to have access to me, so the $27 goes a long way.
Yeah.
Especially with the strategy. Sometimes you get a little stuck, or you may not have, like I had one person that actually had an issue with their address. They couldn't get it verified through Google, so it was hard for them to get credit. So it was good that they were able to contact me, because I told them exactly what to do to get it fixed. And within 24 hours, they're like, oh yeah, I got this card, I got that card. So I was really happy about that. But yes, if you click the link in the bio, definitely go ahead, choose one, get in there. It's live. If you don't make the live session, it's always recorded, so you'll be able to catch it depending on your schedule. And it's homework, y'all. It's homework. I definitely give you homework. I give you resources on what to read, what to find out, where to go, my resources of where I go, so that you'll know, how am I finding this information to help you? Where do I look for certain things? Like if you want to know information about different credit cards or the interest rates, which ones will work best for you. If you are a travel person that travel, what cards is best for that? If you're just trying to start your credit, should I do secured credit or should I do secured loans? So I give you all of that good tea, okay? All of those good teas, that tip, so that you'll be able to be successful in it. Because definitely I want everybody to win, especially in business, because I know everybody can't be a boss, but if you can own something, you are winning. Okay, you don't have to be a entrepreneur. You can be an investor, but it's still considered a business, and that will help you break generational curses. It will help you keep wealth into the family. Then you can start living the life that you want on your terms. You don't have to go by the world rules. You know what I mean? Because I get so many different questions on why you don't work on Saturdays. That's my holy Sabbath.
Right.
I don't have to follow, I don't have to follow how the world is. And it's basically a trick, because they tell you, they make you think Monday is the first day of the week, but if you look at a calendar, what day starts exactly. So it's right in your face, it's right there. And we just go off with whatever they say. It's like real passive. So, read the scriptures, y'all. It will open you'll become aware of the BS that we've been fed all of our lives. And it's time to wake up and break that. Okay?
Yeah. You said it. You couldn't have said it no louder, sis. You probably could have, but, I think they heard you.
I hope so. I hope so, because that is what I'm really here for. I really want to help people win in business. It's not easy. Definitely, if you have someone that's teaching you the ropes and not leaving nothing out, you know what I'm saying? Like helping you get to the goal faster. I wish I had that, but because I just wouldn't give up, and I still won't. Like, we have challenges, but I'm like, nope, I'm going to figure this out. It's going to work out. I'm going to keep seeking. And that's scripture. Keep seeking for a solution. It's there. I know that sometimes you may get discouraged and you're like, you know what, this is too much, because it's foreign to you. No one taught you this. Is something new. But once you figure it out, baby, you're going to be like, why I ain't figured this out sooner? Why didn't I figure this out sooner? But it's never too late. It's so many different things, and you can be creative. There's no rule to business. You know what I'm saying? It's no rule of what you can and cannot really do. You can be creative in whatever it is that you feel your gift is, and monetize it. Everybody else do. You just work for them. Yeah.
If you are an entrepreneur and you're watching right now, just let us know in the comments, what exactly do you do? And if you're interested in entrepreneurship, let us know what part of entrepreneurship you're interested in. We would definitely want to know that.
Yeah.
So now, with everything you do and with everything you know, right? Because with the Level Up Academy, you're covering a lot of, you're giving the results that are covering a lot of mistakes, right? So like those loops that you're like getting through and making sure that nobody falls through, right? What are some of the biggest mistakes that you have seen entrepreneurs make?
Ooh.
Money mistakes.
The number one thing is receipts. Whenever you become an entrepreneur, keep up with your receipts. That's the biggest thing in taxes, because that is our number one bill. I know a lot of people think, oh, it's a car note, it's your mortgage and all of that, but even after you pay that off, you still have to pay taxes every year on that property. Still have to pay taxes on your business. You still have to pay taxes out your check. You still have to pay taxes when you go to the store and buy groceries and whatever else. So taxes is your number one bill. If you can figure out ways to actually, how do I want to say, what's the word that I want to use? If you want to figure out a way where you can strategically save money and it works out best for you and your family, I mean, that money that you just saved in taxes, because once you give that money to Uncle Sam, you know, you can't do nothing else with it. But if you save that money and now you have that extra money, you can do more with it. Maybe you can go buy another investment. So now you're starting to build your wealth, your 7 streams, right? Or more, right? And it doesn't have to be multiple different businesses. It can be one business that you've created 7 streams within that business. And so so many, like I said, so many different ways. So that's one of the things. And the second thing is, you're working and you're saying that you have a business, but you haven't registered a name, you haven't properly got a tax ID, but you want to use that benefit. Eventually, they're going to want to audit you. And like I said, it goes back to the number one thing. If you do not have your receipts together, then it's really hard to argue. There are ways, because you can do a bookkeeping ledger as far as writing your own information in or keeping tally, but it's like the IRS will challenge you on that. Like, you know, you really be writing everything down, because then they start to say, okay, we want to know the mileage. How far is the place from home, your workplace from, so they want the specific thing. So if you have the receipts, they really just leave you alone. Another important thing is credit. A lot of people think, oh, I want to be debt free. I want to be debt free. But it really don't really exist. You have to know how to play the credit game. It's a game, right? We build our credit up to buy things that we know as investments and things that we need, and we have to learn how to monetize off of that fast enough to pay it back.
Right.
And that's it. And then they give you more, because there's no other way that you can live without them running or asking for your 9-digit number. If you try to get utilities on, you can't just go up and give them cash. They're going to be like, okay, wait a minute. We need your Social Security so we can run your credit. And then they will put that on there if you don't pay. So everything is based around credit. So credit is so important that it's impossible for somebody to try to do. You're going to make your life harder with all this high interest and not making enough money fast enough to pay it off. Now, I'm not saying that you should run away from high interest, because some business owners starting off, if that company is going to give you a large lump sum of money, but the interest rate is crazy, if you know that you have a business that's going to make that money plus some, it doesn't matter. You need the capital now to get going, get it going. But if you're going to get something with a high interest and you don't have no extra income coming in on top of that, you're in trouble. And that's how you keep digging yourself in debt more and more and more. But there's no such thing as not having debt. It's like, it's just a forever thing. You can go in debt just off of taxes and not having, you know, because taxes rise. It goes up and down every other year or so. So, for instance, you may have been laid off for some time, and then now you got back to work, but now all these taxes need to be paid. Guess what? That's a debt. And you don't want to give up your property. So then what?
Right.
So I try to change people's mindset when it comes to credit and not be so dependent of it, but know how to work it, make it work for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's great. So that's for entrepreneurs. Now, what kind of money mistakes are you seeing couples make?
Not communicating about it. They don't share it. Either one person doesn't care about taxes, so they're going to work and they didn't even turn their taxes on. They've been exempt the whole year. And then the other person is doing right. Or maybe one person has old debt that comes over and then they're scared to file their taxes together. That's an issue.
That's
So
a big hit.
say that again.
That's a big divide right there.
Yeah.
You have no idea, and now it's time to file taxes.
And then their taxes get took because now they're married and they're filing, and then one person owns child support and didn't say nothing, or or an old car loan that's waiting on them to file their taxes. And, oh, you got a credit, it's mine now. I've already been sitting in the queue to garnish. So I always give a number to my clients to call to make sure that they don't hear anything in the queue. Since COVID, they haven't really updated it like they should. But I know they had the whole protection where when Trump was in office to protect people from being garnished, and now that Biden in, it was like if they took it off. So anybody that didn't get that refund by the time Biden got in, it got snatched if they owed anything. So I just say it's a communication thing. You guys have to, I know a lot of people think that it's crazy to ask someone about finances after, once you start dating them, but it's important to know like where the credit health stand, where your financial stance is, because you're going to mend your taxes is going to mend. And if you file separate in the same household, you're getting taxed harder. You basically relieving yourself of credits. So if you got kids, you ain't getting that much of no credit because you married and we want you to file together.
Right.
So it's the communication of finances that's hurting a lot of people. And they think they can go around. I'm not filing him on my taxes because, he owe Keisha some money. No, you can't. Y'all got to figure some other. But it's really hard. And we already see that finances is the number one reason why people divorce anyway. So I think that's like very important going into a relationship. Once you see us getting serious, that should already be said, I said it really soon.
Yeah.
And he laughed at me, but I said it. I asked.
How do you recommend, because that could be an awkward conversation, right? Like a premarital conversation, you're courting or you're dating, whatever your situation is. How are you, how would you recommend to ask that question or pose that question?
Well, I would say you can do that over dinner. It depends on the relationship. So like, how did you guys start? You want to fill it out. If you guys are open with each other enough right at that level, then yeah, that should be something that's being said. So if you're comfortable with talking about something that is sensitive, then you already know that you can go there. But if it's like you haven't broke the ice yet, try to break the ice. But you also want to be honest with yourself. How much time you willing to give this person without getting to the nitty gritty of the real?
Right.
A lot of people look at it as age. Like, I ain't really got that much time to be playing with you. So what's your finance look like? How many kids you got? How many baby mamas? Like they start asking up front. So I guess it's kind of up to that person and where they are with it. And you listen, if they get uncomfortable about it and they don't want to answer it, that ain't for you, because that means they hiding something or they feel some kind of way. And I mean, what are we here for? Like, for real, like you're trying to build a life with someone, and the purpose of dating is to see if I like you enough to go further, And so I'm not supposed to ask about your health. I'm not supposed, the serious stuff. I'm not supposed to ask about, your personal life. I mean, for goodness sake, we're supposed to come one. So it should be a mutual thing, not just let me ask you. You should be asking too. The guys should be asking as well. So, because if you can't eat what's on her plate, keep on trucking. Keep on trucking. Because it's gonna be, you know, a barrier. It's definitely gonna cause a lot of friction in the household. And a lot of friction. It's gonna be harder to love when you have that you know, that pain, that financial pain. Because we already, all of us is in a little financial pain. You know, we always want more, right? But if we get with someone and then now our more has to give to you to help you climb out the hole, that should have been discussed. That's not fair. You know, me coming in here and just, you know, cleaning up everything. So that's like, okay, now I got to grind it out with you, which I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just that let me know what's up, you know? And that's just fair. All honesty should be happening in the relationship anyway. And you have to be in like together in one faith. Otherwise you're gonna, if you can't agree on the faith, it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Because we don't even believe the same stuff. So now we're gonna argue about everything. I believe what I believe, and you believe, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you get past that?
And finances ain't in order.
Yeah. So I think that is definitely a conversation that always should be had, and definitely a conversation that should be had early before you decide to have children. So you decide to, you know, like anything intimate, you know. Sorry, guys. Okay. You have to lay all your all your cards on the table. You do.
One thing that, you know, that happens often is, you know, people get caught up with the physical attraction, which is, you know, that's obviously the first thing that you see is what someone looks like. And then after that, you know, it's more so their personality. And then after that, what is it? You know, people get stuck in like the stage of bliss, and they don't want to leave the stage of bliss. And it's like, well, that point comes to an end. It does. You know? And then when that bliss stage comes to an end, or, you know, things start to get more serious, and now, you know, bills are knocking at your door, loans are knocking at your door, bad credit's knocking at your door, debt is just knocking at your door, and that, like you said, that conversation was not had. Now you done opened up a whole can of worms. You know, so that's something to talk about beforehand.
Definitely.
So before even that, right? Now this part specifically, you know, for those out there who are single, what are like red flags that you would identify in both men and women, right? Because sometimes I think, you know, I don't say everybody, but some people be pointing the finger at men, right? Just men are the ones that need to fix the problem. They're the ones that got to fix it, right? But women have issues too. So like, what are issues that you see with both men and women that are red financial flags?
The number one thing that I would say that I see in both men and women is the lack of knowledge about credit and finances together. Like the saving, like how do they break down their finances to save? How do they break down their finances to spend? Like how do they normally go about it? So because they don't talk about it, or they may not have a budget or something like that in place, it's really hard to communicate that, especially if it's something that they feel ashamed of, because a lot of people, they already like feel like it's something because we're an adult. You should know how to take care of handle your business and your money, right? So a lot of men they don't want to let the woman know that they ain't got it like how they portray, right? When you first see them. And then women, they either want you to take it all. Take it all. Like, you're gonna have to take care of me. Or they're like, what's mine is mine and yours is yours, and don't ask about it. But then they build this whole relationship together, and then they don't want to break up, but they don't want to mend the the finances. They don't want to mend the responsibilities and things like that.
Right.
So I feel like that is like the number one issue, is the lack of knowledge when it comes to finances and credit.
Yep.
And then they don't want to learn together because they're so ashamed that because they lack that, you know.
So getting the knowledge is something, or being knowledgeable is something to look out for in a potential husband and potential wife.
And if
just being aware.
Yeah, and even if you don't, the acknowledgement of it and say, you know what, let's learn about this before we get married, or, you know, so we can figure out how to do it. No one, you know, because we just like them so much. Let's just be together, you know. We're gonna figure it out. And you don't know how much harder that is when you just figuring it out down the road. You're like, why did I put myself through this? Why did I even do this? So yeah, I think it's really the lack of knowledge. And then you have some people who are knowledgeable a little bit about finances, and the other one isn't. I think as long as you have the same belief and trust, then let the person that has the strong suit handle that. So you got to weigh in on each other's strengths. So you're like, oh, you know what? I can't leave the cards with you because you see some shoes online, baby. We'll have all types of boxes at the door. But I know that you'll keep us on budget, so that's fine. And just let it go from there.
Right. Yeah. That balance and teamwork.
Yes.
You know, that's something that we talk a lot about in our upcoming course. We're about to drop it. The link is in our bio. It's the Power Couple Blueprint mini course. And it's a lot about teamwork. And it's like teamwork in a relationship is all about what are your strengths and what are your weaknesses.
Yes.
You know, whoever's
strength is definitely better than one all the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And even the scripture says that.
Yes.
Right.
Right in the beginning. Right in the beginning.
So it's like, you know, take account of that, you know, take account of like, you know, what do you know more about and what do I know more about? And like, you know, let's work through that, you know, and that's even how businesses run, right? Like my husband and I, we're both relationship coaches, and it's like, well, he's not the one typing up the emails. That's my strength. I'm the one typing up the emails. He's the techie one. So he's all in the background doing the tech stuff, all that type of stuff. So it's like, you know, whatever your strength is, work with that and keep, you know what I'm saying, stay in that lane. So that's great.
I agree.
That's awesome. So, Lakena, I think we have picked your brain enough tonight. Thank you so much. You dropped so many gems. And just let us know again where everyone can find you. Let us know you're at. Let us know, drop the name of your academy once again. Tell us once again what you do before we close it out.
Okay. Thank you for having me. This was a good time, girl. We're going to have to do this again. But yes, everyone that's watching, if you have a business or if you want to start a business, you can find me here at Level Up with Kina. The academy is called Level Up Academy. And what we are doing now is we're doing a 5-day challenge. You guys can join by clicking the link in the bio. The new challenge will start on Monday. We have 2 packages. You can get in at $297, or you can get in our VIP for $497. Those links is the top 2 links. Definitely download anything inside of my my Linktree. I have some freebies in there, tax strategies for you. If you need any assistance with personal credit or business credit and you just want to get that started, definitely I can help you with that as well. I also help relationship, marriages as well. I have a lot of married couples that come in here. So if you guys want to come together, definitely come in. I am on Facebook and I'm on YouTube. So Tax Savvy Refunds Company. We have 5 tax stores. It's a franchise that I started. So tax season is coming up. So get ready to start planning. Get on my email list because I'm giving great tips away as well, and ways that you can start planning for the new tax season so that you can get your finances in order. And yeah, if you definitely start a business, learn more about personal and business credit, find some tax strategies, how to create more wealth, and make money all in the process. So while you're starting your business in this 5-day process, you're going to be starting it, and then I'm going to show you ways to start making money right away. Okay? So everything that you need to do to get started to have a business, you're going to leave the 5-day challenge with your business and making money and on your way to get funding. So that is why it's a challenge, because it's definitely going to be a push. I'm going to hold your hand, so you're not going to fall off. It's not another program where you're going to jump in and you're just going to feel rushed with information and you still feel stuck and have nowhere to go. No, I actually am going to help you get over every barrier and hump that you have inside of the program, which is what I'm here to do. I want you to succeed. I want you to have it. So for the very low, $297, join me. Go ahead and when we're done, you can click the link in the bio. Definitely follow me. I drop so many gems. And again, you're so beautiful. Thanks for having me. And we got to do this again.
You're amazing. You're amazing.
Thank you.
So again, this is Level Up with Lakena Mattison.
Yes, Lakena Mattison.
Okay. Mattison, she was amazing. You were so amazing, sis. I can't wait for part 2.
Yes.
We got to talk more about birth and pregnancies.
Yes.
But until next time, again, my name is Zakai. If you missed it in the beginning, my husband and I are relationship coaches. We are Tazadak and Zakai of a Christ Lifestyle. We help couples rid their relationships of bad habits, recognize, rid, and replace bad habits in their relationships. That's what we do. We love helping couples. So yeah, that's it. Lakena, you are amazing. Can't wait to have you again.
Yes.
All right.
My pleasure.
Absolutely. No, the pleasure is all mine, sis. It's all mine.
Okay. So yeah, so thanks for having me. Again, you guys, follow her. Get into her Linktree. Get into my Linktree. Set up whatever it is that you need. Do not hesitate, because this is the time that we need to be able to start. It's so easy right now. The information is out there, and as soon as you start, you're going to be so happy that you did, because you're going to start to see how your life is changing for the better. I kid you not. Trust me, you do not have to be a slave at all.
Yeah.
That is a choice now. Okay? So tap in. Tap the actual link in our bios. I'm Level Up with Kina, and thanks for joining us.
All right. Thank you, sis. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Peace all right. Peace and blessings, y'all.
Bye.
Bye.